So to implement these synchronization tools in Linux, for instance, we can basically use the API function, the Pthread function, Pthread mutex init, to initialize the mutex lock, and then to acquire the lock we use the function Pthread mutex lock, and to release the lock we use Pthread mutex and lock. Now you can see that the critical section is between the two functions acquire and release, and that's how you are protecting your critical section. So any manipulation to a shared variable that you're trying to protect, it has to be in this section in between acquire and release. So the thread cannot execute in the critical section until it acquires successfully the mutex lock. Now, there is a variation of this function called try lock, so Pthread mutex try lock. So it behaves similarly, so it has the same main objective, which is trying to acquire the mutex. Now, the only difference is with lock, when the mutex is not available, then the calling thread will block until the mutex is available again. Whereas with try lock, the thread does not block. It can continue executing other instructions and come back again to check periodically and try to acquire the mutex lock if it's available. So depending on the application and how you want to implement your threads, you do have these two options, lock and try lock. Of fours, there is two versions that Pthread and POSIX provide. So there is the named and unnamed. So a named semaphore can actually be used by any thread that has the name of that semaphore. So the threads do not have to belong to the same process to use that semaphore and share it, versus with unnamed semaphores, only the threads belonging to one process can access and use that semaphore. So this is the function to initialize your semaphore to 1 and give it a name. Therefore, any thread that has this semaphore's name can actually access the semaphore and use it. And again, to protect our critical section, it has to be between the two functions, sim_wait, which is basically the wait function that we've introduced before, and sim_post, which we called earlier the signal function. Create and initialize an unnamed semaphore, you use sim_init and you initialize it to 1, and again you can use exactly the same function, sim_wait and sim_post, to protect your critical section.